The hottest ticket in town and available to you on ESPN HD. The Pistons looking to block the Pacers' path to the finals. It's time now to focus on the task at hand and put off friendships for the next 48 minutes because it's game time. In this fight for the finals, the playoffs have taken on the feel of a boxing match, with 48 minutes feeling more like 48 rounds. The Pacers and Pistons have both shown their willingness to go the distance.
Here's the three. Got it! Reggie Miller! And it's blocked again! How did Prince get there?
But after game 3, it looks like the men from Motown have the longer reach. Can Indiana get off the ropes in time? Or will Detroit move one step closer to delivering the knockout punch? It's the Pacers and the Pistons Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4.
It's going to be a battle of wills. It's going to come down to one loose ball, one make, one miss, one block shot.
Game 4 is a game that they're going to be desperate. We know they're going to come out like kamikaze pilots. They're going to come out hard.
Well, we plan on winning today. You know, we're going to do everything we can to come out here and win this ball game because, you know, there is no tomorrow as far as that's concerned.
A vital Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it comes to you from the Palace at Auburn Hills, the home court of the Detroit Pistons, who right now have the 2-1 edge in this best-of-7 series. Indiana, in its history, has never come back from a 2-1 deficit to win a best-of-7 series. The fans are ready, 22,000 strong, and the hitman, Tommy Hearns, has got to love a series like this. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. My partners, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, and Jim Gray will join us shortly. Well, we talked about at the end of Game 3 the other night. If you're going to put a law firm together, we think the Detroit Pistons have a pretty good one right now. It's called Wallace, Wallace, and Hamilton.
Yeah, it's a pretty good law firm. And if you needed representation in the East, Wallace and Wallace was who I would start with. You know, these two guys, when you combine them together, they're an unshakable force. I mean, they block shots, they rebound, they score, they intimidate, they yell at refs, they do it all. And then when you add in the little guy, Rip Hamilton, who I think has been the biggest guy in this series thus far with this offense, not only just scoring, but setting up everyone else, it's a pretty special law firm.
Well, those partners have stood firm, and they've played their game. We think Indiana is off their game right now. They've lost home court advantage. They can regain it if they win tonight. What's Rick Carlisle telling his guys?
Well, he's saying what you just said. If you win one game, you get home court back. You know, this is a huge game. They know if they go down 3-1, they're in trouble. But bottom line is, a 2-1 series means it's as close as it possibly can be at this point in a series. Don't overthink this.
Let's take a look at the Bud Light starting lineups. And Rick Carlisle has made a change in his lineup. Jamal Tinsley and Reggie Miller in the backcourt. Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal up front. Austin Crozier is starting for Jeff Foster. Billups and Hamilton in the backcourt. Prince and the Wallaces, Ben and Rasheed up front. Let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, well, Larry Brown told me earlier that his biggest job tonight is letting his team know the importance of this game. Well, how? He jokingly said he'd reach for speech number 97. But he seriously said in the New Jersey series, the Pistons got a couple of easy wins and had a false sense of security about how good they are. This series, he said, has not allowed that. So he told his team, if we don't get it done tonight and win, then it's a shortened series, and Indiana gets home court advantage back. They don't want that. Now over to Jim Gray covering Indiana.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. I spoke to Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Indiana Pacers, about the change. He said Austin Crozier should be in the game because I like the momentum in the fourth quarter and the way that we played during that final period. I wanted to see if we could keep that going. Our team needs a bit of a change. He said we also cannot become demoralized on the defensive end if our offense is frustrating us again tonight. And finally, Jermaine O'Neal said he's going to demand the ball in critical situations. He said no more world-class speeches. We all know individually what we have to do. It's time to do it, Brad.
And we know Jermaine's got to handle the ball more, especially in the fourth quarter. He gets the first touch from Reggie Miller and squares and fires way off the mark. And Rip Hamilton pulls it off the backside. Greg Willard, Bob Delaney, and Joe Crawford, our officials, were underway.
You know, I think it's key for O'Neal to get the ball, but I also think it's key for him to get it in his area. I think that's far more important.
Reggie Miller guarding Rasheed Wallace right now. And now Crozier comes out on him, and Rasheed knocks down the jumper.
See, that's what they're going to give up a little with Crozier in the game. You know, he's not as long, and Rasheed can just elevate over him. The reason I like Crozier is because he can stand behind the three and make one of those big guys stand out there with him.
And Reggie Miller knocks it down from outside. Reggie's got to get more involved, too. He has had 2 games where he's only had 1 field goal. The other night it was a 3-pointer.
Well, when you look at their points, everyone has to get involved in this game. You know, really, O'Neal, in a lot of ways, have held the end of the bargain. He scored. He's doing pretty well. Needs to score better in the 4th quarter. He needs some help from someone else. Either Artest, Harrington, or Miller are the 3 guys that one of those 3 have to step up to help him.
Here's been the matchup we've watched throughout the series. Reggie Miller and Rip Hamilton. Rip with a kick out to Chauncey Billups for 3. Crozier all the way coast to coast. Nice transition by the Pacers to quiet the crowd. Jermaine O'Neal fronting Rasheed Wallace. Tough catch on the baseline. They work it around the perimeter. French finds Ben Wallace. Blocked by O'Neal. Fans looking for a foul, didn't get it. Crozier, good outside shooter. Off the mark there.
Yeah, but he makes you honor that. And he's going to make them if you give him those shots all night. I like the move by Rick Carlisle.
Rip Hamilton pull up from about 13 feet, and Artest with a rebound. Artest has struggled in this series after being brilliant in the last round against Miami. Tinsley wrap around to Crozier, and he missed a jam. Boy, in a game and in a series where you don't get easy ones, you can't blow the easy ones. Congestion right now in the Detroit offense with 4 on the shot clock. Rasheed Wallace deep on the turnaround, and Jermaine O'Neal with a rebound.
Yeah, Rasheed Wallace rushed that, and he has to understand that Foster's not guarding him anymore. No need to rush. When he turns around, Crozier is still smaller than him.
Tayshaun Prince picks up his first foul. Tayshaun pleading his case. Joey Crawford telling him to hang it on the wall.
He's like, please.
Please, it's early. Artest with a left hand. Muscles one in. Right now, it looks like you're going to let him play a little bit here.
Yeah, and if you're Tayshaun Prince, I don't know if you're that happy. Because that means right. Artest gets to play with you.
Pacers with their first lead. Artest, nice steal. Outlet to Tinsley. He'll go up against Rasheed Wallace, and he pinned it.
That's the difference right now with Tinsley because of his ankle. You can see and his hamstring, he couldn't explode. Any other time, he grabs that, he beats everyone up the court, and he lays it in.
Tinsley, a bad ankle, a bad hamstring. Not complaining about it.
No, he's not. That's what you love. You know, he's just out playing. But you can see right now Tinsley coming up the floor, almost taking his time, really didn't jump, almost threw his body into Rasheed trying to get a foul because he knew he couldn't beat him to the basket.
Reggie Miller will inbound. Miller, the lob, the kick out to Artest, right back to Reggie for 3. Got it! Whoa, with Rip Hamilton right in his grill.
Like Reggie Miller said after game 1, all I need is a half a second. I don't know if he had a half a second, but he gets that shot off.
I talked to him before the game, and I said, have you had any easy shots? He said, there are no easy shots in this series. Rip Hamilton's first bucket cuts it back to 2. Tinsley, tip in, and a slam by O'Neal.
This is the best I've seen the Pacers look as a team since game 1. You know, they've scored in spurts in game 2 and 3, but it wasn't out of offense. It was almost individual plays. When you look at the assists, the Pacers are only averaging 11 assists a game in this series, and the Pistons are averaging 18. That means there's a lot of individual play by them. Right now, they're playing as a team.
Very early, but this is the best shooting we've seen by either team, by both teams, I should say, throughout the series. Ben Wallace with the left hand. In traffic, Tinsley tried to thread a needle to Reggie Miller, and Rip Hamilton stole it. He'll take a pull-up from the free throw line. Nice job by Rip Hamilton. The defense, and he knew he didn't have numbers. He thought, well, if they're going to give me a 15-footer, I'm going to knock it down.
Well, that's because he's one of the few guys who can make a 15-footer,
exactly.
And that's why he's so good at it.
There you see the Pacers, more turnovers than assists in the series. This sort of echoes what Doc was talking about. 2-point game, Artest, a runner in the lane, and they're going to call this one on Ron Artest.
I tell you, Tayshaun Prince's length bothers Ron Artest. You can see what Artest is trying to do is lower his shoulder and draw fouls instead of just beating him with speed and making shots.
Good start. Game 4, 6:41 remaining. First quarter, Pacers by 2.
Welcome back to the 2004 NBA Eastern Conference Finals on ESPN.
Pacers by 2 early, thanks to some decent shooting. 50% tonight. They're the first team in NBA history to have 4 games in a row under 35%, going way back to the Miami series. So this is a wildfire tonight, 5 out of 10, because you want to talk about cold? Harrington, 39, Tinsley, 37. It gets colder. Jermaine O'Neal, 36%. Foster, 29 from the floor, same as Reggie. Then it gets really chilly. Ron Artest, 26. Austin Crozier, 18%. Same for Anthony Johnson. I mean, we could put the Red Wings in here the way they've been playing.
My goodness.
But
you should call icing.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, so far they've crossed the blue line at least. Pacers lead by 2 with 6:40 to go first quarter.
You know, I think the Mr. Freeze of Wallace and Wallace have something to do with that.
You're right. Eight on the shot clock. Billups trying to get around O'Neal and then launches a 3. Rebound. Artest has his 3rd in the early going.
You know, settled moves in playoff series. Starting Austin Crozier is one. The bigger move is that meant that Jermaine O'Neal has to guard Rasheed Wallace. They didn't want to do that early.
Austin Crozier made sure that time, didn't he?
Yeah. You know, they didn't want to do that early because O'Neal's foul trouble. They're worried about it, but they know that this is a big game, and they're telling their best player, you have to guard their best offensive player on the post. Good move.
From the elbow, Rasheed Wallace a little bit short, and Jermaine O'Neal snatches it. Pacers playing with that sense of urgency here in the first quarter. You can see that. And there's a walk. Reggie gave up an outside shot to feed the post to Crozier, who was wide open. And then the up and under, he made sure.
Yeah, he had to make sure after the first one.
Ben came flying in there. Hamilton, the floater, over O'Neal.
I tell you, every time you're watching, you're amazed at the way he moves again, Brad. I know we're nailing it every time we talk. It's amazing to watch him play without the ball.
O'Neal fouled by Ben Wallace. So that's Ben first. Larry Brown in his 30th playoff series career-wise. And the first guy to take 4 different teams to the conference finals. And this is his first year as a head coach of the Pistons, and the former coach of the Pistons is the head man on the other side in Rick Carlisle, if you haven't followed that. O'Neal trying to feed Tinsley, and Tinsley goes down hard. Artest got a shot away just as the clock was expiring, and he hit it.
The swagger is slowly coming back for the Pacers.
They've taken the crowd out of the game, and they lead by 5.
This is a young team, you know, and Larry Brown was talking about that. This is a young team that plays better with confidence. and now they're starting to get it. I mean, you can see this here. This is just bounces your way, and you have no choice but to take the shot. Only one on the clock.
Maybe Ron's best shot of the whole series, and it was a desperation three.
But that's why, obviously, that last foul, we saw O'Neal pick up a foul on Wallace. That's why they didn't want him guarding Rasheed Wallace early.
And now Tinsley fouls Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups will go to the free throw line. His best game was in game 1 so far as a score. Chauncey had 18 in that one. He had 14 the other night in game 3 and knocks down his 4th point. This one from the free throw line. Which team was the all-time champion? Jordan's Bulls versus Bird's Celtics, or Wilt's Sixers against Magic's Lakers? Cast your votes in the semifinal matchups of the all-time finals challenge on NBA.com.
You have your vote in?
I haven't voted yet.
I have mine in.
I haven't even had time to get a haircut.
Your hair looks great.
Yeah, thanks. Every other day, so don't forget, we'll be back with you on Sunday from Indianapolis. Tinsley with a left hand. Nice move, didn't finish. O'Neal will.
You know, the thing I noticed again with Crozier on the floor, he's standing behind the three-point line. That means one of their fours, either Rasheed or Ben, is standing out there with them. That's why Jermaine O'Neal is working the boards right now, because he's not going up against 2 guys. He's only going up against 1, and it makes a big difference. When you look right here, you don't even see Rasheed in the picture. You know why? Because Crozier is standing behind the 3 somewhere. It makes a big difference.
Taking one key clog out of that law firm inside as far as blocking shots. Check in with Michelle.
Hey, guys, there are 4 officials in the building tonight. 3 on the court that we see, and 1 in street clothes somewhere in the building, Ron Garrettson. Normally, if one of the 3 officials in a game gets injured, the game goes on with only 2, but the NBA is considering having an alternate official in future games, Brad, and they're experimenting tonight. Now, ironically, Joey Crawford had to leave 2 games this season with an Achilles injury, so this experiment may get a real test tonight, guys.
Yeah, I was surprised to even see Joe show up because he was really hurt in that one game, and he's gutting it out, playing hurt.
Well, I think it's a good move. They're going to call travel on Jermaine O'Neal. When he caught the ball, he backed up looking for Rasheed Wallace's body. There was nobody there, so it was a mini chair pull. But I think it's a good move by the NBA. I mean, in the playoffs, listen, there's only 2 games going on right now, so there's a lot of officials. It's good to have an extra one. You never know what will happen, and you don't want this to come down to 2 officials only on the floor missing a call at the end of a game that could decide the fate of a team.
Not to mention, you got the physical battle we've had in this series. You need the extra eyes and the extra bodies.
We might need him on the floor now. We have 4.
Detroit turns it over for the 3rd time. Harrington in the lineup now for the Pacers. He's been good off the bench for him, and he starts the same way as he did the other night.
Well, he had him beat the first time. When he stopped, I thought he allowed Ben Wallace to get back into play. It was part of the setup.
Harrington's had 2 games in this series of 13 points or more. Pacers are shooting 60%, Doc. It's a torch job compared to what we've seen. Pacers in the first quarter already with 20 points. I mean, this is an explosion for this series. And Jermaine O'Neal goes down clutching his knee. Oh, man, you don't want to see that.
No, you don't.
He was on the baseline going up for a rebound. Let's take another look at it. It's before it was Ben Wallace that was behind him. There was the attempt at the rebound, and he hyperextended that left knee. Ouch. It doesn't go that way.
No.
We'll check on him when we come back. Jermaine O'Neal standing up and apparently coming back into the lineup. Let's just show this one more time and then let's get on with it because it's hard to watch. Again, Ben Wallace and Jermaine going up for the rebound, and the left knee of Jermaine O'Neal that does not go that way. Ooh. Let's check in as we get one more look, and then I'm not going to look anymore with Jim Gray. Jim?
Brad, he has a mild sprain of his left knee. David Craig and the Pacers doctor checked him out for the stability. He is okay. He is going back into the game right now. They're going to keep an eye on it, but they don't believe that this will be a problem. Brad?
This is one of those, Doc, you think, okay, in the heat of the moment with the adrenaline, maybe he can keep playing, but how bad might that thing hurt when it's over?
You never know, and they didn't see the replay.
Oh, I don't know if the doctors saw the replay. They might have had a different opinion of a sprain, a mild sprain. We'll wait and see. We'll watch him as Artest takes a three and hits it. Ron Artest having already a much better shooting night than he's had throughout the series.
Well, you know what he's doing is what we talked about the last game. He's just shooting the ball. He's not looking for anybody's body or anything else. He's simply shooting the basketball.
Wallace over O'Neal off the glass. First time Jermaine O'Neal's had to jump, and he's got a hitch in his giddy-up right now. I can tell you that.
Well, he's not sure yet, so it'll be some point soon where he's going to test it, and mentally he'll know if he can play or he can't.
Artest drives on Corliss Williamson and drew the foul. Jermaine's walking down midcourt in front of us, and it's not the normal pace, no pun intended.
I tell you right now, he's thinking, boy, I hope this is okay.
I know.
You know, and if he can tough this out and everything's okay, it would be great, obviously.
Artest, 9 points already for Ron. Let's check in with Jim again.
Hey, Brad, I spoke to Ron Artest. He's tried to take his mind off basketball the past couple of days. He said, I can't go out there and think about everything. I have to react. I have to play smart, but I just have to react. He went to see Troy, the Gladiator film yesterday. Said that made him feel like he got to get tough once again. And today, right before the game, he was watching a documentary about infamous mob from his hometown, Queensbridge, 59th and the Bridge back in Queens. And he said, those all of his old guys. He said, it's really relaxed me. Now I'm ready to play the ball game.
So he went from Brad Pitt to the Boys in the Hood, huh?
Wow. Yes, he did.
O'Neal blocked that shot, and Harrington is fouled. And Jermaine is still down on the other end of the court.
He's leaving. Yeah, he's leaving.
He's going to the locker room.
Yeah.
He blocked the shot, didn't run down the court with the rest of his teammates, and he's heading to the Pacers locker room. Boy, this would be a huge, huge blow for the Indiana Pacers' chances, not only in this game, but in this series. And you know, Doc, what's the rest of his teammates right now thinking? Harrington's at the free throw line. He's thinking, I got to toss this thing 15 feet. But everybody else has got to be wondering, here goes our guy that was third in the MVP voting.
You know, I've always thought it's the guys on the benches who see him walk out.
Yeah.
The guys who are playing, they don't notice it for a couple of minutes, but everyone on that bench knows what's going on, especially the coaching staff.
This is the first double-digit lead of the series for the Pacers, up 10. Rip Hamilton had one come out. Harrington with a rebound. Pacers looking to run. And they throw it away. And now it's one-on-one. Mike James against Ron Artest. Rasheed Wallace with the rebound.
Well, look how small the Indiana Pacers are right now.
Foster, the biggest guy in there, and he gets the steal. Indiana up at 10, trying to add to it, and they do. Ron Artest is having a giant first quarter.
You know, small lineups have had an effect on the Pistons because of the quickness and then the ability to put quick points up on the board. But usually, over the long haul, size wins out.
12-point advantage. Okur. Rasheed Wallace missed the tip in. The outlet to Fred Jones. And he'll pull up. Missed the open jumper. And now the final shot should belong to the Pistons here to end the first quarter.
Yeah, and Fred Jones should have thought about final shot also. You know, you have a 12-point lead. They could have gone into the end of this quarter with at least a 12-point lead. I know you have a one-on-one situation.
Hamilton inside, and he missed it. Artest was there defensively to put the stop on him, and this is a quarter that the Pistons would just as soon forget, and the Pacers would like to duplicate. An offensive explosion in the eyes of Indiana, but all eyes will be on their locker room to see if their star is going to come back on the court. 29-17, we're cooking in Motown. Commissioner David Stern and Willis Reed looking on, and it was 34 years ago that Willis Reed came limping out of the Knicks locker room in one of the all-time great performances of an injury that came back to lift his team. And now 34 years later, is Jermaine O'Neal going to do the same thing? Let's check in with Jim.
Well, Brad, right now Jermaine O'Neal is back in the Pacers locker room here. He's being attended to by the medical staff and trainer David Craig. The report is that Jermaine O'Neal is okay. He has a mild strain of his left knee. They are working on him, checking the stability once again. They want to make sure that everything is okay. He will not be x-rayed right now, and he is expected to return very shortly to the game. He'll be back out on the court. That's good news, Brett.
All right, Jim, it sure is, and I hope that's the case.
I do too. I mean, his body obviously can move in different ways than mine. Watching that, I mean, that was an amazing twist of a knee. I'll tell you that.
So as you see on the floor, much different looking Pacer group right now because O'Neal's out of there. So it's Harrington and Foster, the only guys with really any size. Artest, Fred Jones, and Anthony Johnson. It's a big quarter for Ron Artest to open things up. Let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Brad, for the first time in this series, Larry Brown really lit into his team, saying now more than ever, we've got to make the extra pass. We haven't gotten an offensive rebound yet. Actually, they've gotten a couple. And then he laid into Mehmet Okur, chastising him for pulling up on a jump shot when he should have gone strong to the basket. He said, try to draw the contact. You're 7 feet tall. You don't need to pull up. And he said you've had a shot blocked in every game so far. So Mehmet heard it from him. He's on the bench. Rip Hamilton heard it from him. He's on the bench. We'll see what happens early in the second quarter, guys.
Memo to Memo, and Rip and Eldon Campbell got the message because he went strong to the hole and drew the foul, and he's at the free throw line.
Well, the one thing that stands out to me is that the Pacers are running their offense this evening. And that's something they haven't done since game one. The Pistons have been flawless offensively. I don't know if you can even say that in this series,
right,
but they really have. They've stayed in what they've done. They keep running their offense. But tonight so far, a lot of ISOs for the Pistons, which is really unusual. You know, Larry Brown really tried to work the psyche of his team by getting them up, trying to tell them that the Pacers were going to give them their best blow.
Campbell with a block shot. Tayshaun Prince didn't go up against Artest, didn't really have an opening. Chauncey Billups can't shake Fred Jones. Not yet anyway, looking for a pick. Now goes inside and kicks out to James for three. Got it!
Dribble penetration. That's what Larry Brown was saying. Dribble penetration, attack the basket. The other reason he's saying that is because he knows the Pacers are real small, no shot blockers.
Ben Wallace went up and just snatched that one off the glass. The 12-point lead's down to 7, and the Pistons looking to cut further. Campbell backing in and now turns on Foster and Eldon Campbell off the bench. The wily old veteran of 14 years making his impact felt. Unlikely places to find points. The Pistons bench changed from long. Eldon Campbell from baseline. The 12-point lead is cut down to 29-24. Jermaine O'Neal ready to rejoin the hunt.
Like it. ESPN's presentation of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Brought to you by SBC. Going beyond the call. And new Sprite Remix Berry Clear. Change the rules. Change the flavor.
I'm very happy to be here today because I think this organization is one of the finer organizations in the league. I think Mr. Shin is definitely committed to winning, and we're going to try to put a product on the floor that you guys can be very, very proud of, especially the fans here in New Orleans.
Well, we want to congratulate our colleague for his new job. The McDonald's NBA Brackets Conference Finals. Detroit trying to go up 3-1. The Lakers already have that. against the Timberwolves, and those two get together tomorrow night on TNT. We'll be in Indianapolis on Sunday for an 8 o'clock start. And lo and behold, young bones and knees are a lot better than older ones, I guess, because Jermaine O'Neal's back on the court.
Boy, they sure are, and it's really nice. Really nice to see him on the floor.
Harrington inside, blocks, brought a foul.
You know, talking to Larry Bird and to Rick Carlisle and to Chuck Person, all the personnel with the Pacers over the last day and a half, the one guy they said they had to get off was Al Harrington. They need his energy. They need his scoring in this game. And they said they're really going to try to get him involved and get him the ball.
Well, in game 2, he had 7 rebounds, but he didn't score at all. He's got 5 points now tonight after a 13-point outing the other night. There's Larry Bird, Hall of Fame great, one of the greatest of all time, looking on as his team has pulled a 7-point lead here in the second quarter.
Wow, that's a turnover. Oh, my. Wow. Look at this one.
Oh, boy. Off his foot and out of bounds. That'll drive you crazy. Larry Brown right now, the look on his face like he's about ready to go into a coma.
Yes. I mean, those are the ones where coach, you can't even scream at.
I know. Johnson with a little runner.
I always thought as a player that was worse. You know, scream at me. Just don't stare at me. Scream at me.
10 minutes remaining in the first half. 33-24. Pacers in front. Tayshaun Prince wide open, gave up a 3, and almost threw it away. Now he'll take an 18-footer instead, and that one's off the mark.
Well, I tell you, Prince gets the balls that you think there's no chance that he can get to.
Including, of course, the famous block in game 2. And here he is battling for another loose ball, and he's fouled.
It's amazing the adjustments you have to make, Brad. First, the Pacers go small. They start Crozier. They've been playing a ton of zone. They've been playing 5 guys without a center on the floor. Rick Carlisle right now is pulling out all the stops.
Knowing they have 2 opportunities, including tonight, to win in this building. Ron Artest has had the biggest game of anybody so far. He's getting a breather right now. You saw Rasheed Wallace and Rip Hamilton check back in for the Pistons. So the starting 5 is on the floor for Detroit. Double team on Hamilton, and the steal by Jones. Kicks it out to Bender, and he's going to take a 3.
Wow. I've seen that look before. I've given that look, too.
That one's not hard to manufacture.
No.
Bender, Jones, Johnson, Harrington, and O'Neal on the floor. Bender, I don't know. He's going to try, but he missed everything that time. Took a 3 that might have been a little ill-advised earlier.
And that time he shot a 2, but he had 3 distance.
You got that right. And now Detroit turns it right back over as they've had 4 turnovers their last 4 trips.
Yeah, I mean, I think he lands on it. Watch his expression. He's not sure right now, and we aren't either.
Right. Harrington drives up and under. Nice move by Al Harrington. 8 for him.
He's the guy. You can see in game 1, Al Harrington turned the game around. He's doing it again this evening. He's their guy right now.
8:24 remaining in the half. This has been all Pacers. Harrington with 8 points off the Pacer bench, doing his thing to help the cause. Kid Rock in his hometown cheering his home team, but right now they trail the Pacers by 11. Reggie Miller warming up, ready to rejoin the hunt, and of course he's been around a long time and never won a championship, and Jermaine O'Neal writing on his sneakers, remember why, and then putting number 31. He told us when this series started, we want to win this for Reggie. And now he's going to have to be a guy that they're going to have to pick up around him because of the injury earlier, even though he's fighting it off.
Boy, he's showing some great toughness for his team. And, you know, it'd be great if he can finish this game. But even if he doesn't, I think he's showing great leadership.
Check in with Michelle.
Hey, guys, Larry Brown again and telling his team we got out-rebounded 15-7 in the first quarter. The Pacers, made every hustle play. All we're doing is throwing the ball around like a hot potato. Share the ball, set good screens, execute, and defend. A simple message. We'll see if it got across, guys.
It's Detroit that's struggling to find their game tonight, as it's been Indiana the past 2 games.
Well, one of the things that stood out in the series is Detroit's effort. And right now, it's all Indiana. Larry Brown is right.
Rip Hamilton threw a double team. Boy, what a tough shot that is.
He's the one guy offensively that keeps it going.
Remember, Detroit cut the lead down to 5 at 29-24. And then Indiana took off on another 6-0 run on them to get the double-digit advantage. Now it's down to 9 again. O'Neal against Rasheed Wallace. This might be a good test of how he's going to be. Missed the turnaround jumper, but it looked like he landed all right. Hamilton trying to get it to Rasheed, and the foul on Jermaine O'Neal. That'll be his second.
You can see him, and watch this. It's a nice little dance move they do here. Good spin move. I can't do that with my wife. That's pretty good.
Reggie Miller trying to sell something to Greg Willard.
Yeah, he's pretty good, too. You know, we talk about Rasheed Wallace. Reggie Miller's pretty good with the officials as well.
Pacers haven't had a rebound this quarter. They do now. Artest again. He's their leading rebounder tonight and their leading scorer. Looking more like the Ron Artest we saw in the Miami series. Johnson, nice move off the glass for Anthony Johnson.
He's been really effective this entire series getting to the bucket. That's what they would love Tinsley to do. But with the bad will, I think it's very difficult for Tinsley to do it.
We thought we might even see the veteran Kenny Anderson play some point, and we still may tonight for the Pacers because of Tinsley playing with a bad hamstring and a bad ankle. Rasheed Wallace. There's Jamal looking on. He does have 2 fouls right now. That's part of the reason he's not in the lineup, too. Johnson trying to shake off Billups. Can't. Harrington staring into Ben Wallace, fades away on the baseline with a shot. Prince wraps it inside to Wallace, and Ben will have to earn it from the free throw line.
Again, though Harrington missed the shot, the one thing you notice right now is that the Pacers are scoring out of their offense instead of individual plays. That bodes well for them in this game.
6:25 remaining in the half. The lead in single digits, but it's Indiana on the road doing the best of it so far. All right, Kevin. Ben Wallace will be going to the free throw line. He's been, since he was a kid, always a neighborhood barber, and even on the teams he's been on before the Pistons.
First, I started lining myself up and doing little stuff to my own head, and everybody was telling me, man, so you really can cut.
Didn't have to cut much at Virginia Union. There wasn't much there. But undrafted into the pros with a bullet, still the clean look, and then it started growing. Got down to Orlando, and you were starting to fear the fro. And now that's what they say here in Detroit, as he's a mainstay and a big part of this community, and everybody comes in wearing the fro wigs. Best hair, he can still cut, he tells us.
Tell them, you know, if y'all need a haircut, $3. I got you.
I'm telling you, Doc, $3 is not bad.
I don't know.
Let's check in with Michelle.
You know, you guys, as intimidating as Ben Wallace can look on the court, he is a gentle giant off of it. He told me earlier that all 6 of his older brothers, who didn't like to let him play with them when they were little kids, are really proud of him now. They like to say to him, hey, if it weren't for us toughening you up, you wouldn't be the player you are today. And he just sort of nods and says, anyone want to go one-on-one? And none of them take him up on that, Brad, Doc.
He's the 10th of 11 children, and he said when they wouldn't let him play, all he had to do was go in and tell his mom. And he said Mom came out and said, if he doesn't play, none of you are playing.
Yeah, that's a good mom.
That's a great mom.
A great decision by Mom, too.
Absolutely. Ben did miss both free throws, and he hasn't scored tonight yet. Reggie Miller trapped in the corner, got it to O'Neal. He'll kick it out to Artest. Had to get the shot away with the shot clock expiring.
I'm going to tell you, I'm watching Jermaine O'Neal, and I'm concerned watching him. Even on the last time when he landed right there, you saw him grimace. And, you know, I think he's fine. You know, they did the test, but it just scares you when you see him out there.
I agree. The body language is saying something different than the trainers and doctors are saying. As long as there's nothing structurally wrong, he's just got to shake it, get it out of his mind, I guess. But
yeah, that's going to be the key.
I don't blame him for being a little tentative after what we saw earlier. 5 on the shot clock as Chauncey Billups misses, and O'Neal with a rebound. Pacers now cooled off. They had that hot shooting first quarter, and now they're under 30% in this quarter.
The fact that he's on the floor still is big because his presence. When he gets the ball, he's going to draw all kinds of attention. He doesn't have to be effective. His presence is pretty good right now.
Reggie Miller on Rip Hamilton. Hamilton got the shot away but missed it. Tinsley with a rebound. Harrington and Rasheed Wallace got all tangled up trying to both get position for that board. And Tayshaun Prince gets one of those long arms in the way.
Boy, I tell you what, Reggie Miller just gave Tinsley a look that would kill you. And you know what he's saying? Reggie Miller's a shooter. And when a shooter gets open, he wants the ball.
Let's see if as the trigger man, he gets it in and then gets it back. And a foul on Chauncey Billups.
You know, people see that and they hear me say that and they say, wow, there must be a problem. There's no problem. You know, that's what happens on the court. You know, when you're in a game, you don't have time to say it nicely.
Yeah.
You know,
excuse me, Jamal,
exactly.
but could you pass me the ball?
And players take it and they move on.
Tinsley pushes one of his own in. That's his first basket. The lead goes back to 11.
The biggest thing the Pacers are doing is keeping this Piston crowd out of this game.
Completely out of it. Crozier doing a pretty good job fronting Rasheed Wallace. Now he does get a touch and gets the turnaround. They've got to get it in his hands.
Yeah, with Crozier guarding him, they do. Because all he has to do is turn around and take the shot. It's nothing Crozier can do about it.
Tinsley right there, too much dribbling and not enough action, and he turns it over. And now it's Hamilton on the other end. And Rick Carlisle says, let's quiet him down right now. Exactly 4 minutes left first half. Detroit trying to make a little push again. They trail by 7. Rip Hamilton, a one-man fast break that last trip down. Right through everybody.
That's in slow motion, Brad. That looked pretty good, didn't it?
Here's how quick it really was. That's gotten Detroit back to within 7. We're under 4 minutes in the half. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4. Double team on Artest. A lot of arms there. Wallace and Prince. Crozier intimidated by Wallace underneath. Chauncey Billups for 3. That one would have brought the house down. And it would have brought the lead down to 4, which is as close as they've come at 29-25 a little bit earlier. Reggie Miller, three-pointer on the way. Got it.
See, again, Austin Crozier, because of his speed, he not only spreads the court, but he has the ability to take guys off the dribble. That creates help. That gets Reggie Miller open. That's what they need, a guy who can create.
Pacers 4 for 7 on their three-pointers. Rip Hamilton has an answer as he knocks one down. Miller and Hamilton having that hand-to-hand combat battle, and Rip Hamilton's going to be called for the foul.
Well, you know what? He was caught with the second one. Reggie Miller pushed him off. Rip Hamilton reached out to grab him. The official saw the second one. Watch the push-off here with Reggie Miller.
There's the first one.
Well, you're going to see another one. It's coming up right. Push right there. You see the push, and then he grabs, and he gets the second one. Both of these guys are great.
The grabber got that one. Artest going against Prince. Nice move. That time used his body to just kind of shield Prince's length away and then laid it off the glass, and Artest has 14 points.
Shield, bulldoze might be another word for it.
Wallace wants it. They don't get it to him, and the foul's on Tinsley, and that's his third. Ron Artest having his best game of this series so far.
Yeah, the difference is, to me, again, he's attacking the basket. He's not even looking right now at Tayshaun Prince or his body. He's going straight to the hoop, and I think that's what he has to do. Prince's length absolutely bothers him. There's no doubt about that.
14 and 6 right now for Ron Artest with 2:17 left in the quarter. Billups at the free throw line, normally automatic, and is there. Tomorrow night on TNT, the Lakers and Minnesota, Game 5. Lakers can close things out if they can win. And then Monday night on TNT, if necessary, would be Game 6 of the Western Finals on TNT at 9 o'clock.
Boy, Shaq and Kobe.
Pretty good, aren't they?
They're pretty good.
Lead down to 7 again. And Corliss Williamson bumping with Ron Artest is going to get... Remember Jamal Tinsley, you can see him limping noticeably. It's the hamstring, the ankle. You take that whole left leg, it's not feeling too good. And now with 3 fouls, he's going to get a couple extra minutes of treatment and head to the locker room.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He has 3 fouls. He knows he's not going to play anymore this half. And instead of sitting on the bench, they're going to take him into the locker room and get him treatment. That's a good move.
Corliss Williamson, by the way, picked up his 3rd foul. And he's out of the lineup right now. Artest got a good look. Tayshaun Prince with a rebound. We're under 2 minutes in the half. Kevin and the guys in the halftime studio are waiting. They'll be joining us shortly. O'Neal with a rebound. That's his 8th rebound for Jermaine O'Neal on touchy knee. Isolation. Artest will give it up. Gets it back. He's been the man with the shot clock winding down so far tonight. Rasheed Wallace, second chance at the rebound. He got it. Billups all the way.
No one picked up the ball. The one thing you have to do is stop the ball first. No one picked up the ball. Billups takes it all the way, length to length for a layup.
Boy, if the Pistons get one more stop and get one more basket on the other end in this final minute, it would be huge because they were down at one point by 12 points in this half.
I mean, look at this. No one backpedaling. You got to stop the ball first. You know, when Anthony Johnson saw a guy behind, he was concerned by that. But you got to trust your teammates. Hope that somebody gets him, but you must stop the ball.
The other thing that Anthony Johnson might have been thinking is Tinsley's got 3 fouls and I'm his replacement and I've got 2 and I can't get too cute on my defense here. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
Brad, Doc, you were exactly right. Jamal Tinsley, nothing else happened to him. He's just going to get his hamstring worked on because he has the 3 fouls. The training staff wants to get to it right away so they can have the full period so he's not sitting out here on the bench with a chance for it to really cool off. They're going to go in and put the ultrasound on it and keep it warm through the halftime, Brad.
All right, Jim, thanks.
You know, I did ultrasound for 13 years as a player. I still can't tell you exactly what it does.
At least you don't need one out here next to me.
No, not yet.
That'd be a bad thing. O'Neal, that's his first point in a long, long time. He had 2 early field goals and then hurt his knee at the 2:33 mark of the first quarter. And now those 2 free throws gives him 6 for the game.
And every minute he's on the floor gives him more confidence that he's okay.
Lindsey Hunter in the lineup for Detroit. Campbell, who was so good early off the Detroit bench, in there as well. Rasheed Wallace, the clock at 5, threw it away.
I tell you what, I would not want to be in the Detroit locker room at halftime, because you're going to hear things like ball movement, you're going to hear things like turnovers, you're going to hear things like individual play and passion. That's going to be talked about.
There's going to be some adjectives and adverbs around those things, right? Reggie Miller trying to give it right back to Crozier, and the Pacers turn it over. And that's their 8th turnover as well. So Jermaine O'Neal's going to be an early entry into the Pacers locker room too, and you can see still a little bit of a grimace out of space as he walks here with 31 seconds left in the half.
There's nothing worse when I was a player when you go in the locker room at halftime and you see your key players laying on that table. I tell you, it really does. It bothers you.
2 starters will be there before everybody else is. Hunter had an open look, gives it up to Billups for 3. I thought he got fouled on that shot, and so did he, but that's not the call, and Artest now will dribble it up. Pacers are going to have the halftime lead on the road.
Well, he tried the world free kick.
Remember, they tied for the best road record during the regular season, and they just tack on 3 more. A huge 3 by Austin Crozier with .7 left in the half. And now it's a 10-point advantage for the Pacers at the break. Indiana 5 out of 8 on their 3-point shots in that first half, including a real killer there as Crozier knocks it down to put the lead back to double digits. 49-39. Let's check in with Jim.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. With Ron Artest, 14 points for Ron. Ron, tell us about the injury to Jermaine O'Neal, and how did it lift up the team when he was able to come back out?
We knew he was going to come back and play because he wasn't injured. You know, he just got hurt a little bit.
Your offense, 14 points so far in the entire Pacer offense. What has transformed this offense tonight from the first 3 games?
I don't really know, but I know we just playing, you know, and coach is getting me involved earlier. I've been playing bad the last 2 games, but, you know, all he had to do was stay with me. He get me involved early. I'm able to, you know, get my teammates shots, and the whole team is moving the ball.
All right, we appreciate your time. Good luck in the second half, Ron.
Thanks.
Back to you, Brad.
All right, Jim. Indiana only had 45 points through 3 quarters of Game 3, and here they are with an offensive explosion, 49 at halftime. Don't forget, Kevin and the crew in the studio. Byron's going to the Big Easy. A lot more action. The Toyota halftime show is next. 49-39. Detroit was looking to put another notch in their holster tonight and go up 3-1, but the Pacers have different ideas. They want to take it back to Indy. 2 even. Palace of Auburn Hills, where Detroit's Pistons were hoping to take a 3-1 advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals. If we take a look at our first half statistics brought to you by Nike, you see that it's the Pacers that are doing the damage and had 49% from the floor. For them, that's about as hot as you're going to get. They have the edge in virtually every category, and thus the 10-point lead. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Doc Rivers along with you. And Doc, I think without a doubt, this is the Pacers' best half we've seen so far.
Well, no doubt. They're moving the ball. You know, that's the first thing. They have 8 assists right now at halftime.
They only had 8 the whole game.
The whole game. And so to me, that's what stands out. Before the game, we said a couple of guys, Reggie Miller, Artest, Harrington had to do well, and they've done well in the first half.
As you take a look at our Chevy game track, they've had to do well because 2 of the stars, Jamal Tinsley and Jermaine O'Neal, are a little banged up. O'Neal with 6 points and 8 rebounds. Only 2 of those points from the free throw line, though, came after the 2:33 mark of the first quarter when this occurred. And down he went with the knee that kind of hyperextended. They call it just a mild sprain. They put a sleeve on it. He went back to the locker room. Ron Artest picked up the slack, though, with 14 points and 7 rebounds. By far, Ron's best first half of this Eastern Conference Final Series. We'll check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Brad, I spoke to Rick Carlisle. He said he is very concerned about Jermaine O'Neal's knee. He said he will not come out of the game. I'm just going to have to keep my eye on him. I spoke to Jermaine O'Neal. He said it is very painful. But as long as I can walk, I'm going to stay in the game. This is our season. I will look at my knee when the game is over. For the Pistons side, let's go down to Michelle.
All right, Jim. Well, I spoke with Larry Brown as he came out of the locker room. One of the first things he told me was that we got the lead down to 5 by getting the ball inside, and then Chauncey Billups, quote, jacked up a three-pointer. Brown called that settling, said we're playing like strangers, but his final comment, Brad and Doc, was, we'll see what we're made of by the next timeout.
Will they ever? Beginning the quarter, always so key, as Indiana closed out the first 2 quarters in great fashion. 16-6 in the first quarter, 5-0 to end the half, including that three-pointer by Crozier just before the buzzer. And here the Pacers with a 10-point lead have an opportunity to stretch it. Crozier will try a 3, and he got it. Wow. He ended the quarter with 1, and then he started the quarter with 1.
Exactly, because the Pistons are so used to running back on defense in the paint, especially their bigs. Austin Crozier is not running in the paint. He's looking for that line.
Biggest lead by either team in the series. 13-point advantage for the road Pacers. Rasheed Wallace, he's going to have to be big in this second half. He got what he wanted, but missed the shot. Rip Hamilton will try to clean it up and does.
See, that's where the Pistons are going to have to take advantage, is on the boards, because they have an absolute size advantage.
Tinsley hooks it around to O'Neal. He'll take the 18-footer and got it. Well, that'll be something to rest his mind a little bit, hitting his first shot of the quarter.
Yeah, and again, it's a jump shot. And I think that's what you're going to see more out of O'Neal right now is jump shots. And that's fine because he's capable.
O'Neal now trying to guard Rasheed Wallace with 5 on the shot clock. And he did a nice job of it. And now running the court and saving it by bouncing it off Tayshaun Prince. So he's done a little bit of everything here in the opening 2 minutes.
He's probably looking at Tinsley right now thinking, come on, man.
Yeah, lighten up on the pass.
That's a tough one for me right now.
And then he has to jump over the camera guys on the baseline. Crozier has a wide open 3 again, and he got it again.
I tell you, they fell on this in the second half of the last game. When Rick Carlisle put in Austin Crozier, he saw what it did to the Detroit Pistons defense. They're spreading their defense for the first time in this series. They're getting every shot that they want.
You told me before the lineups were announced, I like what Rick's doing with a lineup change. He's got to love it right now. His team is up by 16.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, brought to you by Chevy, who encourages you to buckle up every trip, every time. Chevy, an American revolution. And Taco Bell, where you can spice up the night.
Largest home deficit at home during the playoffs so far is what Detroit's looking at. 16-point deficit. Doc, let's talk about the impact of Austin Crozier and how it's working.
Well, you can see it right here. I want you to look at Ben Wallace. He is so used to running into the paint because that's what he's done all series. But look who he leaves open. Austin Crozier. He's not running into the paint like most 4s and 5s. He's standing behind the 3. Here we have another look. Watch here. Ben Wallace is worried about this and not this. And by doing that, Crozier, one more time,
yep,
three-pointer.
3 of them tonight for Austin Crozier. And the Pacers as a team, 7 out of 10 from outside the arc. Let's check in with Michelle.
Some more harsh words from Larry Brown telling him we've got to move the ball. We can't just throw it and stand around. You've got to get it going. You're not going to do it by yourselves. We're getting exposed by ourselves. And again, turning it over there.
And the Pacers on a 13-2 run that goes back to late in the second quarter. And with a turnover, they can add to it. Reggie Miller. And now Artest is going to have to put one up. Knows it. And Ben Wallace with a rebound. You know it's getting critical. Ben Wallace has gotten rid of the headband. And he's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, that's what Larry Brown wants. He wants them to pound it down low. See, in Larry Brown's mind right now, the Pistons are playing small ball against a small basketball team. He wants them to play power ball, tall ball. We're bigger than this team, Larry Brown is saying. Exploit it. Drive to the bucket, power down low, get them in foul trouble, make Rick Carlisle go big again.
Yep.
But right now, they're settling for so many jump shots that they don't have to do that. The Pacers, they can stay small.
Problem is Ben Wallace at the free throw line is a liability, although he did hit the second of 2 there. 57-42. As we approach 9 minutes in the third quarter. Pacers trying to even things at 2 games apiece and take the home court back to Conseco Fieldhouse with them on Sunday on ESPN. And now loose ball picked up by Rasheed Wallace. Billups a kick out. Hamilton good from there. Nope, not this time. Definitely more in their offensive swing though after that turnover. You'd expect Rip Hamilton to knock that one down and rattled out on him. O'Neal, big sweeping hook shot, and Wallace with a rebound.
O'Neal is looking fine. He's moving fine. I think that jump shot got his confidence up.
Tayshaun Prince has been so quiet offensively in these playoffs compared to the earlier series. Hamilton not going to miss too many of those.
He's the one guy this evening that hasn't lost his touch. Without him, this game would be over already.
He's got 17 points. And he's had 20 or more every game. Tinsley takes it all away. Nobody picks him up.
You know why? Austin Crozier. Before Rasheed Wallace shows, he was so concerned about getting back to Crozier behind the three-point line, he never stopped the ball.
Billups penetrates and dishes to Rasheed Wallace. Artest guarded by Tayshaun Prince. The pick and roll to O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal, and he's feeling better with every shot, I think.
That jump shot turned him around completely. He made that jump shot, then he drives to the basket, doesn't make it, but he feels good.
The lead swells to 17, the biggest of this Eastern Conference Final Series by either team. Hamilton kicks it outside to Prince. They move it around to Billups for 3. Ben Wallace keeps it alive there. And now Ron Artest picks up his second foul.
And you're looking at Jermaine O'Neal. He just takes shots now. You know, you remember when he first got injured, he was kind of hesitant. Now he has that swagger back.
You could see it with a look on his face after that shot. Kind of looked to the crowd. Rasheed Wallace. O'Neal blocked it. Billups and Artest trying to play for the loose ball, and they got Chauncey Billups in the gut, and that's Ron's second in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, but what a great block. You know, right when you start feeling good about yourself, then you get excited. O'Neal is starting to play again. It's good to see.
Remember when Ali used to throw that last jab and say, take that one with you?
Yes.
And here's the steal by Artest. Artest asking for the ball. He's got Billups on him. Reggie Miller's open momentarily. Now he'll take a runner, and he got it. Reggie has 10. At the 6-minute mark, 63-44. Larry Brown wants another timeout, hoping to stop the bleeding, but it's getting worse instead of better right now for the Pistons on their home floor. Reggie Miller, who only had 3 points in Game 3 after a 21-point Game 2, has 10 tonight. including the last one before the timeout.
You know, in basketball, it's all a connection. The reason Reggie Miller is getting open is because other guys other than Jermaine O'Neal are making shots. Now guys are scared to rotate off of those guys, so Reggie Miller is left open.
O'Neal with a rebound off Hamilton's miss. And Jermaine O'Neal now has 10 points and 10 rebounds. And the run continues, and you can add 2 more to it.
That's because you had 4 guys arguing with the ref about which way the ball should go in instead of getting back on defense. Larry Brown's going to have one heck of a bulletin board after this game.
Rasheed Wallace. 2 Pacers go down. Artest and Miller. And Artest is saying, hold up till we get up there, Jamal. There they come. Boy, you can hear a pin drop in here with the exception of that long shot by Reggie.
Well, I can hear Larry.
I can hear Larry and I can hear sneaker squeaks, but that's about it. They've taken the crowd of 22,000 completely out of the game. And this is a tough place to play. Pacers are making it look relatively easy right now. And they can't even get it in close. Rip Hamilton. And now his miss, rebounded by Wallace.
You know, I'm watching Rick Carlisle, and he is so not used to teams rebounding on him. But he's going to have to live with this for a little while.
I had to momentarily shut up because I was going to have Jamal Tinsley in my lap. Yeah, we got everything straightened out.
And I think the official's going to change this call because this probably should be going the other way. Yeah, that's a good call. But I'm looking at Rick Carlisle and all the offensive rebounds that are going on. You can see the ball should go the other way. Good call by the official.
And look at Jamal pulling up with that hamstring. He's gutting it out, limping around.
I mean, you have O'Neal out injured, playing. You have Tinsley on the floor, injured, playing. You know, this is a young basketball team, and games like this build character in this team and trust with each other also.
No kidding. You know that your guys are going to do everything in their power to be out there. Then you tend to have their back at every turn. Artest on Hamilton, and Hamilton's quickness pays off there. 19 for Rip, but the lead is still 19.
But Rip needs help this evening.
And Jamal Tinsley heading back. He's holding the left hamstring. And obviously in a lot of pain as he heads to the Pacers locker room.
Well, I think he hurt it on that play. You can see the grimace. Brian, I thought he made an effort to try to go after the ball, and he had to pull up. Now, when you have an hamstring, and if you can feel it, it's just a matter of time before you pull it.
Yep. Anthony Johnson, his replacement. The move on the baseline, and a foul. It's going to be on Lindsey Hunter.
Well, you know, Corliss Williamson, and I hate to categorize him as a small, but in a lot of ways, he usually plays the 3 spot. I'm looking at the Detroit Pistons team right now. He's on the floor as a 4, so Larry Brown has decided to match up and go small with the Pacers instead of trying the tall ball.
Trying everything. Pacers shooting 70% this quarter that has 4 minutes remaining. Bender underneath. He'll make sure.
See, now they're going small, but you look at Bender, he really isn't a small, so now the Pacers have a chance to work the boards. So Rick Carlisle has to like the way this game is going right now.
Boy, after how game 3 went, actually all the games in the series, it's been almost impossible to get open looks. To see a lead open up of over 20 points is just amazing. O'Neal goes up and gets another rebound.
See, now all of a sudden, O'Neal is the biggest guy on the floor.
Whistle and a foul going to be on Hamilton. That's his 3rd. And Rips doing it almost by himself tonight.
Yeah, and by himself is not going to be good enough.
3:20 left third quarter. All Indiana right now.
You're watching the NBA Eastern Conference Finals on ESPN.
Welcome back to Detroit. I'm Jim Gray. I'm joined by Donnie Walsh. He's the president of the team. Of course, Larry Bird. Donnie, let me ask you first, where did this offensive explosion come from after the last 3 or 4 games where you guys have just struggled so miserably?
Well, I think that our players haven't been to this level, and the intensity, I think, caught them by surprise, plus Detroit's good play. Tonight, we just seem to have gotten through it.
Donnie, let me ask you about the performance of Jermaine O'Neal. What is your assessment?
He's getting every rebound. You know, he's blocking shots, getting every rebound, and the players are around him are performing, so it makes it easier for him.
Larry Bird, Austin Crozier was your guy when you coached the team. He has come in here and changed the entire complexion of this series starting tonight, hasn't he?
Well, he's hit some shots. He's opened up the offense a little bit by spreading them out, and we're getting about what we want right now.
He talked to you the other day. You said there's nothing better than to have quiet on the road. Are you enjoying this?
Yeah, right now I am, but still a lot of game left.
We appreciate your time. Let's go back to Brad.
Pistons open up after the timeout with a zone, and they get the rebound off the miss.
Well, you know, it's funny, but I'm looking at the Pacers right now without Crozier. It'll be interesting how the Pistons play this, because now they don't have to spread as much, and it'll be interesting how their defense works out. But they have to score.
And they're struggling right now because they have as many turnovers as they have field goals in this quarter. They're 3 of 18 from the floor. And Anthony Johnson's going to go to the free throw line.
I'll tell you what, Anthony Johnson has been terrific, not only just tonight, throughout this series. He's been the one guy consistently that keeps driving the ball into the paint, and that's what Rick Carlisle wanted him to do.
Remember, he has finals, Eastern Conference Finals, and NBA Finals experience. He backed up Jason Kidd in New Jersey, and so he knows what it's all about at this level.
You know, that's where the Donnie Walshes and the Larry Birds are so good, when they can bring in the subtle player that helps their basketball team. Kenny Anderson is sitting over there on the bench.
Yeah.
He's going to pay dividends sometime in this playoffs for this Pacer team. Johnson has done it all year.
With the exception of Reggie Miller and Kenny Anderson, Anthony's the oldest guy on this team at 29, not old by any stretch, in his 7th season out of college at Charleston. And tonight, 5 points for him as the lead is advanced to 22 and could be 23. And is Michelle.
Brad, during that last timeout, Larry Brown did all the things considering zone defense, drawing up plays, but the last thing he said to his team was, we have to make a statement that we're not giving in. Brad, Doc?
It'll be tough to do now. Down 23, still 2.5 left in this quarter and a 4th quarter to come. James on a runner. Everything's just short right now. Finally, nope, still didn't go in. How many shots from 4 inches did they have right there? Bender leaves it for Harrington. Nice move, but he didn't finish.
That good ball movement, that's what Rick Carlisle has been preaching.
And Rip Hamilton knocks it down in every game. He's been over 20 points now.
He's been terrific.
21 for him tonight. Johnson's going to take one over James, and Hunter with a rebound.
That's not the ball movement they want.
Rip Hamilton has 8 of the 9 points this quarter for Detroit. Just missed one there.
You know, the one thing Larry Brown said that I thought was interesting, and Michelle talked about it, was don't show that you've given up. See, now they've gone from trying to adjust to win the game to talking about the mental. That's a big statement.
Crozier loses the handle, turns it over. 10th turnover suffered by Indiana.
And the one thing the Pacers can't do is start getting tentative here. You know, those last 2 possessions were possessions like, let's try to hold on to this lead.
Corliss Williamson whistle and a foul away from the ball is going to be on Harrington. The Pacers, we talked about how cold their shooting has been in this series. How about the Pistons shooting tonight? It's been horrendous.
Detroit basketball. Yeah, that's pretty much horrendous.
32% if you add all that up.
My goodness.
That's why all those long faces on the sideline.
But you know, Rick Carlisle talked about his team, that his offense was bad, so their defense is bad. It's the other way around this evening.
Corliss Williamson in close, who's fouled by Jones. And he'll go to the free throw line. Corliss steps up. Remind you to tune in to NBA TV to see the emotional story of one of the greatest players to never make it to the NBA. Hooked, the legend of Demetrius Hook Mitchell. Premieres June 14th only on NBA TV.
I don't know where Hook Mitchell is from.
Yeah, you got to watch.
I have to watch.
So the Pistons, Doc, trying to make a statement here, but 69-49, it's going to be a heck of a statement coming back from 20.
Yeah, it would be. I think right now the Pacers are making a statement. And I was really curious coming into this game because the Pacers are such a young basketball team, and psyche is so important in sports. We didn't know which way they would go, and they've shown us this evening that they're capable and they're mentally strong enough to be a contender.
Certainly didn't hurt that they got off to a good start from the floor. They've struggled so badly, and Ron Artest was such a huge part of that first half to get them going in the right direction. Rozier is fouled underneath. I think it's going to be on Tayshaun Prince. And they're going to call him instead on Ben Wallace. They were both there. That's 3 on Ben. Here's a guy that has kind of changed the complexion of the ball game by being the starter tonight instead of Jeff Foster, who started all season long. And, you know, every time Rozier does something well, you look over and you see Jeff Foster's the first guy to be clapping and applauding. Even though I know he'd like to be playing, he knows that this change has helped them immensely tonight.
It really has. I mean, look at the substitutions. It's been rare that you've seen the Wallace and the firm of Wallace and Wallace do something together. Well, that's because one of them has been out of the picture all game.
Right.
They've been standing behind the three-point line with Rozier. It makes such a huge difference. Now you only see one of them on the floor.
Right.
So right now, Larry Brown has to make an adjustment to the effect of Rozier.
There's the Wallaces, what they've done tonight. It's been minimal, although 12 rebounds is good, but that's just a normal night for Ben Wallace. And Fred Jones fouls with Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, the law firm of Hamilton is still very good.
Yes, he's still a practicing partner tonight. And he'll step to the free throw line. 21 tonight after back-to-back 23-point performances in the first 2 games and 20 in game 3.
But there's been a merger on the other side. You know that. You know, it was just the law firm of O'Neal.
Right.
Now it's O'Neal, Miller, Artest, and Crozier.
Let's check in with Jim.
Brad, they're telling us from the Pacer locker room, Jamal Tinsley's return is very questionable because of that hamstring. It is questionable if he will play at all.
All right, so
the rest of the way.
The hustle that he showed, almost taking over our table here as he was trying to get to that loose ball, probably cost him the rest of the night. Harrington got close at the buzzer to end the third quarter. So a long way to come back for the Detroit Pistons if they're to take a commanding lead. Right now, it looks like Indiana is going to be happy heading back to Indianapolis and Speed Weekend with a 2-2 tie in the best of 7. They're 12 minutes away from tying things up, and they lead by 20.
Back at the Palace of Auburn Hills, where tomorrow the defending WNBA champion Detroit Shock hosts the LA Sparks at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, the WNBA on ABC. And I'm joined now by Swin Cash, a member of the defending champion Shock. Not long ago, you got to go to Washington, talk to George Bush. How was that?
It was exciting. I've met him before, but to have the opportunity to go into the Oval Office was amazing.
I know you're going to the Olympics, and Larry Brown told me he recently read an article in the New York Times about how proud you are and how it's a statement for you and your mom. The fact that that had an impact on Larry Brown, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot because anyone that knows me understands that, I'm a very humble person. I never forget my roots. McKee-Sports always been my hometown. My mom raised me there. And to have the opportunity to play for my country is amazing.
He thinks so, too. He's been involved in it for so long. What about the concern about security over there? How concerned are you?
I wouldn't say it's as much concern as that I'm very aware of what's going on over there. But a lot of credit to the WNBA, USA Basketball. They're keeping us informed about everything that's happening.
What about this game? This is not a typical performance by Detroit. What do you think they've got to do to adjust going back to Indianapolis?
Well, I think right now we need to get some momentum just for the game coming up next in Indiana. And they have to play defense. I mean, that's what they're known for, is playing tough defense. And we need to play defense and then execute on offense.
Swin, good luck tomorrow. We'll look forward to watching you.
Thanks so much. Go Pistons.
Let's send it back to you guys.
All right, Swin, good luck tomorrow. Good luck in Athens this summer.
Well, she can be a coach.
Heck yeah, she's got it figured out, I can tell you.
She's talking about momentum, the same thing Larry Brown was saying.
And during the beginning of that fourth quarter, the crowd tried to help as well. They're trying to get into it. Corliss Williamson knocks down the jumper.
And you're going to see the Detroit Pistons start trapping now and putting a ton of pressure on this Pacer team. Larry Brown is looking at this clock, and I know it's a 17-point lead, but he's thinking if we can get it down to the 10-point mark with 6 minutes left, then we're right back in this game.
You didn't major in math at Marquette, did you?
No.
It's an 18-point lead, but I understand what you're talking about.
I'm looking at the scoreboard.
The scoreboard's different than the clock, so maybe you're right. The scoreboard is 17. The scoreboard's wrong, says Pat McGrath, H statistician. See, Doc, I take it back. I apologize. You were looking at the board instead of our graphic.
But you were right still.
They just fixed the scoreboard now to the 18-point advantage that Corliss Williamson's going to try to cut into. And a foul on Jones from behind as he knocks it away from Ben Wallace, and that's 4 on Fred Jones.
I think what Rick Carlisle is thinking right now, that this team is a little too small that I have on the floor. I mean, I've gone small ball, but this is tiny ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little bigger.
And
because right now they're getting destroyed on the board.
The bigger and the batter are coming back in. They're waiting to.
But you know how tough this is for a coach, Brad? When you play one way all year, you play big, and then you decide to go small, and you watch your team get out-rebounded, but you're winning the game. I think it's taking everything in Rick Carlisle's body to stay small.
And here they come. Artest and O'Neal will check back in, and Bender and Crozier will go out. That guy'd be getting a huge ovation if it was a home game for the Pacers. Crozier.
He is somewhere.
He is back in Indianapolis, you can bet. Under 11 minutes. Williamson kicks it out to Billups. The extra pass to Hamilton for 3. And Corliss Williamson almost fought in there to get the rebound, but it's handled by the Pacers. Pacers haven't had a field goal now in like 5 minutes, and that's really the only stretch they've had tonight. They've had many of those, 13 of those coming into the game so far in the series where they've had droughts of 3 minutes or more. They hadn't had one until right now. And Jermaine O'Neal just ended it.
He caught the ball on the post where he likes it. It's a matter of feet. When he catches that 2 or 3 feet further out, he doesn't score. When he catches it deep, he's tough to stop.
Rasheed Wallace trying to pack it into Corliss Williamson, and Artest with those quick hands knocks it out of bounds.
And look at the difference here. Deep, 1 step, 2 step, turn around, an easy shot in his range.
And for the first time in the series, Kenny Anderson's in the lineup with Jamal Tinsley out with the injured hamstring, and Anthony Johnson having to be his main backup. The veteran out of Georgia Tech now in for the first time. Jones trying to come up with a steal. It was just as good as a steal because he knocked it too far away for Williamson to get a shot off.
Yeah, good call, Brad, because it was a steal. You know, when you deflect the ball and the 24-second clock goes off, they don't count a steal, but coaches do.
So here's Kenny Anderson's first offensive movement for the Pacers. He was a starter at times in the beginning of the year before Tinsley got the message from Rick Carlisle of what he wanted from his point guard.
And he'll probably end up with a shot because that's what happens when you haven't played in a while.
Artest, fadeaway jumper. Not exactly what they were looking for, but it goes out of bounds, and they'll still have 2 more seconds to work with. Harrington turns and fires. Almost got it with the clock winding down.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Billups now try to get in this game.
And Ben Wallace trying to tip it, and what he does is tips it out of bounds. Tayshaun Prince has not scored tonight, so his offensive deficiencies continue somewhat in this playoff series.
Yeah, it's really been only one Piston tonight offensively, and that's Rip Hamilton.
And that hasn't been enough. They're down 20. We approach 9 minutes. Pacers using some clock up here. And now Jones with a turnaround jumper.
Boy, the Pacers aren't playing the way they were playing, though. They're just kind of moving the ball, looking at the clock. They have to get back into the offense, and they play for 3 quarters.
Prince has an open look there. Boy, they can't get anything to drop right now, even when they're getting open shots. O'Neal running the floor. Fouled by Prince. Nope, no foul. Just knocked out of bounds in a timeout with 8:34 remaining in the ball game. 8.5 minutes, and the Pacers can go home tied at 2 apiece. Playing on wounded knee, not showing the effects. Jermaine O'Neal having a good ball game.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, brought to you by Jeep. Trail-rated capability only in a Jeep 4x4. And Sky Sport, the new low-carb ultra-premium malt beverage with a taste of citrus and cranberry.
Nice day today in Detroit, a nice night, and nothing like cheerleaders in high definition. High definition's wider picture gives you a better view of the court, so you won't miss anything. Starting June 7th, that'll include SportsCenter on ESPN HD. If you don't have ESPN HD, you're missing out. Go to your local Best Buy and check out a Philips HD TV. Clear enough to know that it's a 20-point lead right now for the Indiana Pacers on the road. As we take a look at our Sprite Mad Skills, a guy we were so worried about, third in the MVP voting this year. Jermaine O'Neal went down with 2:33 left in the first quarter with that knee injury. Went to the locker room and then came back out and said, I'm not sitting. Told Rick Carlisle, put me back out. It's paid off. He's blocked shots. He's hit shots. He's rebounded. He's having a great all-around game for a guy that's going to have an awful stiff knee tomorrow morning.
Yes, he is. But I think it's a great move by Carlisle. What he told us before or after halftime is we're going to keep him out there because he knows he has to keep him warm. So great move by Rick Carlisle.
12 points, 12 boards, 4 blocks. And the Pacers 8 minutes and change away from going back to Indy, tied at 2.
And Willis Reed is thinking, wow, this guy's tough.
Yes, he is. Here he is. He'll give it up this time. Kenny Anderson has an open shot. In and out, and Wallace with the rebound.
Oh, it's no doubt. They're going to leave Kenny Anderson. They're going to make him make shots. He can, but he hasn't shot the ball in so long. They're going to test that theory.
He was the first guy out here tonight to warm up. Billups over Kenny Anderson for 3. You said, don't be surprised if Billups gets involved, and that helps the Pistons cause a bit with a 3-pointer. Every possession for the Pistons, every stop they can get is crucial right now. And Rasheed Wallace reaches around and fouls Jermaine O'Neal.
Well, Jermaine O'Neal had great post position. I mean, there's no way he wasn't either going to get fouled or get a bucket. So in essence, that's like a stop for Detroit because they stopped it from scoring, and now they have to reset it. That was a good foul.
And the reset with the shot clock under 10 now. They move it around, the extra pass. Jones clangs a three off the front of the iron, and Ben Wallace has another rebound.
See, Chauncey Billups right now is looking at Kenny Anderson. He's looking at his size number 1 and the fact that he hasn't played number 2 and the fact that he hasn't scored much number 3. You're going to see him be far more aggressive than he's been all night.
Almost shot that one off the inbound. It'll be Wallace for 3 instead. Missed badly. Rip Hamilton tried to save it, did he? He did.
Boy, there's no room. If you can get the ball, get the ball. Fred Jones could have grabbed that ball, but he was scared that he might go out of bounds. But by doing that, and that's why he's coming out, he allowed another shot. I mean, watch. He can grab it. He didn't see Rip, and now the Pistons get the ball back.
And Fred gets to see the bench.
What the officials are asking right now is, did it hit the rim? And if it hits the rim, it goes back to 14.
They say no.
Saying no.
They're going to leave it alone. One more big shot by the Pistons, and I think they'd have the crowd back in their hip pocket. Billups, it'll be a 3. Kept alive, and another foul. It'll be on Harrington again. That's 4 on Al.
You know, the Pacers better be very careful with this lead.
Still a lot of time. Largest deficit overcome at the end of a third quarter, 21 2 years ago. Billups. Now he's going to go to the baseline against Anderson, and he got it, and a chance to add one.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle was going to make a move already, going back on Anthony Johnson, because the bottom line is a guy hasn't played in a month. It's very difficult, and he already has a size disadvantage. So Billups sees that. He's going to take advantage of it.
And as good as Kenny has been over 13 years, he is considered a bit of a defensive liability, if you will, I guess is the way to put it.
And more importantly, when you don't play, it's tough.
Right.
So what Rick Carlisle is going to do is give him some minutes, because he knows he's going to need him in the next game, most likely, with Tinsley's help.
Pacers now have missed 9 of their last 10 shots. The crowd comes to life with a chant of defense as we're under 7 minutes. They're trying to fight their way back in this thing. Artest is open. The rebound is Wallace. Rashid, that is.
Well, I said if they can get it to 10 with 6, if they score here, they're getting a lot closer.
Billups got his man to go by. 3, got it! Detroit won't go away. My partner said Billups is going to get involved soon. I think he's in a rhythm, and I think the Pistons are back in the ballgame. 6:23 to go. Detroit, can they come from way back? Their fans still believe.
Hey, let's see if we can make a hustle play. Get a loose ball and rebound. Come on.
Said let's make the hustle plays 2 timeouts ago and said let's see if we can make something happen that way, and they have. Their defense has turned into offense. They have cut a 23-point lead down to 11. And Doc said if they get down to 10 with 6 minutes to go, we got a ball game. We're very, very close. A 15-3 run in the last 7:41, and a lot of that's when Austin Crozier came out. Doc, you talked during the timeout with me about that, and now he's back in.
Yeah, you know what Rick Carlisle did? They had a 20-point lead. He looked at his team and said, now let's go with our defensive unit. I thought it was a good move at the time. The problem with that now is they haven't scored. And now they actually need defense, but they need Crozier on the floor for his offense. Interesting move.
He's out there with Anthony Johnson, Reggie Miller, on Artest, and Jermaine O'Neal. Crowd is wanting to get crazy. Artest Got it. Boy, big shot.
You know, and I know I'm beating the Crozier thing, but Rasheed Wallace was standing right there, could have helped, but he was scared to because he was guarding Crozier.
Hamilton kicks it out. Billups. Another three. Nope, that's a 2, and he missed it. They know they're going to need Chauncey Billups outside shooting now and Rip Hamilton's penetration and drives. But they also have to find a way to stop the Pacers. They did there. Billups skips it into Rasheed Wallace, and Jermaine O'Neal fouls him from behind.
Now I want you to watch Artest here. Look at the top of your screen. You're going to see Rasheed Wallace. He wants to help, but he's watching Crozier the whole time. Any other time, if Crozier's not on the floor, that's a blocked shot by Rasheed Wallace.
And now Rasheed will go to the free throw line.
It's amazing what shooting does to a defense. You know, in Orlando, I had Pat Garrity. And when you brought him in and you put him in at the 4 spot, he scared the heck out of teams.
Rasheed Wallace still hasn't scored in the second half tonight. Corliss Williamson will go out. Tayshaun Prince will sit. Rasheed with 8 points. All came in the first half, though.
The problem when you're down 20, you can't make any mistakes. You have to make your free throws. You can't turn the ball over, and you can't allow the other team to score.
Every possession's crucial. Nobody knows it better than that guy. And Rasheed Wallace maybe a little bit tired, short on both free throws. So the lead remains 13. Artest over Corliss Williamson and got his own miss.
Good patience.
And now Corliss Williamson goes to the deck trying to steal the ball. Five minutes left, and the Pacers leading 74-61. Brad Nessler, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, Jim Gray, and our ESPN crew here. The Palace of Auburn Hills, where the Pistons were hoping to take a commanding 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pacers have a different idea. They're trying to get it back home for Game 5, even at 2 apiece.
Yeah, they look pretty good right now.
Under 5 minutes. Artest banging away with Williamson and scoring again.
That's a huge possession. That's a 48 seconds they took off the clock and then got a score.
And pushed the lead back to 15. Quieted the crowd. And Billups trying to wrap around pass to somebody and nobody home.
And you can see Artest banging, but the offensive rebound is what bought them more time, and then the score that late in the clock is close to a perfect possession.
Crozier inside to O'Neal. Draws a double team, and Rasheed Wallace is going to pick up the foul.
So again, they got it down to 6 seconds. They get fouled. Now they get to take the ball back out of bounds. A foul that late in the clock, when you're not in penalty, is just like an offensive rebound. You get to take the ball back out and use more clock.
Some of the fans losing faith, heading to the exits at the 4-minute mark. And the foul is going to be Corliss Williamson. That's his 4th.
So let's use some more clock.
Yeah.
Let's take it back out and use more clock.
They use it down to 5 seconds. O'Neal, and it's stripped by Ben Wallace. And the clock will expire that time. So the Pistons finally got a stop, but it took a long time to get it. Timeout with 3:56 remaining in the ball game. Pistons on the short end on their home floor. Pacers by 15. Log on to ESPN.com and search HD to get the latest ESPN HD schedule or just to learn more about high definition. This game available in a HD tonight from the Palace of Auburn Hills. And right now it's clear to see that the Nokia storyline showing the Pacers up by 15 on the road. They've been banged up and bruised, but they have kept playing through it, including Jermaine O'Neal. Jamal Tinsley has not come back now after re-injuring his hamstring. And then Ron Artest has taken over some of the strength stuff as he always does. An 18-point, 10-rebound night for him in the last 2 possessions he scored for the Pacers. And they've been killer shots just when Detroit got it down to an 11-point difference. Rick Carlisle said we're going to shoot better eventually. We have to be able to because we can't keep shooting 35%. Tonight, it's better.
Yeah, and the key, though, is that they got better shots. You know, they ran their offense. Was not a lot of ISO basketball. They got great shots all night. I thought it started with Jermaine O'Neal. It started with the change in putting Crozier in.
Yep.
And Reggie Miller makes shots. Artest makes shots. Everything goes well. And for this young team, their confidence rises. This is a character game. We talked about it before. We wanted to see how this young team would respond.
And they did.
And they did. It's amazing how quickly a playoff series can change.
Well, after Game 3, people were just saying, I don't care if the Pacers won 61 in the regular season or not. They can't get any shots, so how are they ever going to beat these guys? And now it's been a different story tonight. That's Rasheed Wallace's first points of the second half. He's got 10. Again, the Pacers will use some clock. Artest has been the late shot clock man all night for the Pacers. And he is again.
Boy. Those are daggers.
The 6 points he scored of his 20 in this quarter have been killers to the Pistons. Wallace with a fadeaway jumper, a little bit short. O'Neal easily handles the rebound. Down to 8 on the shot clock. Might as well give it to Artest. That one he airmailed to Ben Wallace. 18th rebound for Ben Wallace tonight. It's not going to matter, I don't think, how good that looks in the scorebook.
You almost expect it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You said 18 rebounds. I didn't flinch.
We're so used to seeing him get in the 20 range just about every game. Jermaine O'Neal picks up his 5th foul. Chauncey Billups will go to the free throw line. Chauncey's had a good 4th quarter, but it looks like it's going to be for naught.
But you know, you look at the scoreboard, the Pacers have 78 points. So they haven't had an offensive explosion here. They've just made some shots. What they've done, and Rick Carlisle talked about it, they went back to the basics, and they played defense. They got defensive stops, and they scored.
Remember,
that's the difference.
They haven't had an 80-point game in this series yet. The Pacers, that is. And barring a major collapse here in the last 2:26, they should at least hit the 80 mark. $20 points for Chauncey Billups. Trying to trap now all over the court. We're down near the 2-minute mark. O'Neal kick out the extra pass. Reggie for 3. Got it. Wow. And Ron Artest had already turned around, looked at us, and pointed one finger in the air like you might as well count that.
Before he shot it, he was walking the floor.
Loose ball, rebound, Wallace again. Rip Hamilton steps back, and he'll shoot a 3. Rasheed Wallace with a rebound. Now Billups. And he's fouled. That's going to be on Anthony Johnson. Watch this now. Reggie is taking the shot. Ron Artest is already walking towards us. He's not even watching. That's great. That's great.
That's trust.
That's having trust and confidence in your three-point shooter.
That's trust in history.
Oh, boy.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
And Billups misses his first free throw of the night.
And good move by Rick Carlisle getting Jermaine O'Neal off the floor.
Yeah. No sense now for him to be out there with 1:44 left as the Pacers, with a 16-point lead, will be heading home to Conseco Fieldhouse, where they had one of the best records in the business this year. And though they did lose one to Detroit there to lose home court advantage, they'll regain it here tonight.
And the swagger's back.
Yep. They had lost it. We've been around them for several days, both in the hotel and at the practices and shoot-arounds, and this was a team searching for answers, and I guess they found it tonight.
Yeah, they found the answer. He has a number of 44.
Artest, 3 on the shot clock. His field goal percentage, because he's had to take all the shots with the clock winding down, isn't going to be the greatest, but he's had, without a doubt, his best night of the playoff.
He's had a big night.
Chauncey Billups for 3. Pistons are tired right now. Even the threes aren't getting near where they need to be, and we're down to the final minute of what will be a resounding success for the Pacers tonight.
And we get to see a Game 5. With a 2-2 series. That's exactly what you want if you're a fan of basketball. It's going to be a war.
And we're going back for Speed Week. Doc's already been part of the Speed. Every Memorial Day weekend since '65, ABC Sports has been trackside at the Indy 500, and Doc decided he needed to be part of that. They crammed him in that car. I don't know how they got you out. I think with a can opener.
Like a little girl.
You pull that all the way
That's great. That's we can run a fast break like that tonight. We're in good shape. Hey, thank you very much.
It's clearly the most fun I've ever had in clothes. I'll tell you that. I mean, it was amazing, but I was scared. I got to tell you.
Oh man, the look on your face even hours later. Our race day coverage begins on ABC Sunday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time on ABC Sports Championship Television, and then we'll be with you on Sunday nights after the race on ABC Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon, 8 o'clock Eastern time from Conseco Fieldhouse. We'll be tipping it off with the key NBA shoot-around, Kevin and the guys at 7:30. And then we'll tip Game 5 dead even at 2 apiece on Sunday night.
I'm just still amazed at the change of this series. I mean, I got to tell you, Brad, when you watch the Pacer players in the last couple of days, you can see them searching for answers. Rick Carlisle searching for answers, and they found an answer. And now it's an entirely different series, and the Pacers have home court again.
Let me ask you this, just in your opinion, what adjustments is Coach Brown going to have to make?
Well, he's going to have to make a decision what he's going to do with Austin Crozier, how he's going to match up. If he puts a big on him, that means one of his bigs will be spending time out at the three-point line.
So he's got to go to somebody smaller.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see him put a Tayshaun Prince on Crozier, and you may see a Ben Wallace guarding Artest, who is closer to the basket. But, you know, at the end of the day, Larry Brown, the one thing that makes him a great coach, he doesn't believe in big changes. He thinks do it better, do it harder, do it better. And I think that's what he's going to be preaching this evening.
There'll be some execution speeches going on between now and Sunday. And Rick Carlisle, who made his adjustments count, and they paid off brilliantly tonight. As we're down to the final half minute of play. So while the Western Conference Finals has the Lakers one win away from eliminating the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Indiana Pacers, who didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs the last 3 years, are right back in the thick of things in this one now because they have regained the swagger, the look of a team that won NBA best 61 games in the regular season. And as Doc said, the questions have been answered and the swagger is back. Pacers win it easily. 83-68 is the final. And let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Brad, with Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine, you told me at halftime, this is our season. I'll worry about my knee after the game. How is your knee?
It's pretty sore right now.
obviously right now I feel a lot better, about my knee because we won. The team came out and played the way we normally play, what we played the entire season. We didn't really worry about making shots. And when you don't worry about making shots, things happen. I got to say hi to my daughter, Asia, and Misha out in Cancun right now. I told them we was going to win this game for them.
This team is always talked about as being so young. Did you guys take a major step and grow up tonight?
Sometimes, when you're down, it brings a team together. Like I told you yesterday, I didn't have any more Save the World speeches. Just us coming out, playing together, being a family, just playing basketball, having fun. And Coach Carlisle came in and gave a speech before the tip-off, and he just told us, we're not going to go over any more things on the board. We just got to go out and play and have fun, and we did today.
Did Austin Crozier change the complexion of this series?
He was big for us tonight. He spreads the defense. He keeps Rashid away or either been away from the goal and allow guys to go one-on-one with me.
All right, congratulations, Jermaine. We'll see you Sunday night.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Brad.
All right, Jim, thanks. Jermaine O'Neal, a big night. Played 38 minutes on a bad knee. It'll be more sore tomorrow, but as he said, it feels pretty good now because we won by 15 points. Lowest point total for the Pistons so far in the playoffs. Only 68 on their home floor tonight. And now we're dead even, folks, at 2 apiece. Don't forget Sunday, 7:30, Game 5. Pistons and the Pacers on ESPN, your worldwide leader for sports. John Anderson, Scott Van Pelt are waiting in Sports Center right now. For Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, and Jim Gray, I'm Brad Nessler. See you Sunday night.